This is a video topic that I normally don't explore. When it comes to free agents that leave their teams and go elsewhere, it's almost never really a conversation of, oh, why did they leave? Why did they not want to stay with the team they were on before? It's always, okay, they got some money from the new team that the other team would not have been able to provide. They're getting a bigger opportunity with this new team. They're doing this, they're doing that. Okay, I can understand why this is the case. But when it comes to the Nashville Predators signing of Ryan O'Reilly from day one of free agency, which was a week ago, pretty much, there was an immediate reaction from a lot of the Leafs fan base that I had seen that pretty much jolted up and said, wait a minute, what? $4.5 million a season and 4 years for Ryan O'Reilly in Nashville with no trade protection? Are you saying the Maple Leafs could not have done that? And it was made even worse with the fact that the Predators signed Luke Schenn too, so they got two Maple Leafs in this year's free agency period for about $6 million each. $6 million, that's the price of about one William Nylander, if I do say so myself. But the difference was with Luke Schenn, you could understand why this guy went over to Nashville, because that dollar amount that he had gotten, man, that's the most money he has gotten on an AAV in years. So good on Luke Schenn for getting the bag, but for Ryan O'Reilly, there was a knee-jerk reaction asking why he decided to leave. And this is where we get some smoke to the potential fire, because right after the entire situation went down, you had Darren Dreger making a tweet that garnered a lot of traction and sparked up a lot of conversation. Here it is. Toronto was trying to retain Ryan O'Reilly. The term and money wasn't an issue. Ryan O'Reilly decided to look outside of Toronto. And this is where things get interesting, because you start to realize, wait a minute, this is not necessarily a fact of money. It's not necessarily term that was the issue here. It was just straight up Ryan O'Reilly deciding that he does not want to come back. And there were some speculative ideas thrown around as to why that was the case. You had Ryan O'Reilly make an appearance on TSN Overdrive, and the comments that he had made regarding the strategy and the bounce back of the Leafs in the second round against the Florida Panthers. Here's an article on MapleLeafsInsider.com. Ryan O'Reilly appears to call out Sheldon Keefe's lack of adjustments against Florida. It was published a month ago, back in June, and you could see the comments written out here. We kind of dug ourselves a hole quick and didn't respond. There's so many things we could have done differently. It's frustrating. We could have gave that series a better chance. That's just the way the game goes sometimes. When you get into these moments where it's challenging, you have to find a way to pull something out of each other and find a way to give a bit more. Against Tampa, we did that. Again, there's so many things we could have done differently, Ryan O'Reilly said on the Leafs' flawed strategy against the Panthers. Now, you could interpret this quote as saying, wow, the guy went out there and did not like Sheldon Keefe. He wasn't a fan of the way Keefe coached the team, and that's why he left. You then had other people throwing out ideas like Brendan here. Ryan O'Reilly just left his hometown team that's in win-now mode to sign with a rebuilding team in the West offering the same deal the Leafs did. There's a cancer in that Toronto locker room. Some of the replies say similar things. That signing is alarming to those who are paying attention. An Ontario boy that has won a cup before and knows what it takes to win had the choice of staying with the Leafs or moving to a rebuilding Predators team. It screams that he doesn't believe he could win a cup in Toronto. And that's pretty telling. Then you had yourselves even more conversation about this entire thing when Brad Treliving was asked about the Ryan O'Reilly departure. This is what he said about the rumors wanting out of a bad Leaf locker room earlier this week too. We had a pretty good idea which players would move on. I had a really good talk with Ryan. He loved playing here, loved our players, loved the room, but sometimes when you're from this area, there's a lot more to it. And in order for us to understand what that means, let's head over onto hockeyfeed.com, because they published an article talking about how TSN takes a shot at Ryan O'Reilly after signing with the Predators. The reason we're bringing this article up is because in it, there's a quote from TSN and Brian Hayes on Overdrive, and this is a pretty intriguing perspective brought up by the two of them. Take a look at this. Speaking with someone close to Ryan O'Reilly's camp, it wasn't overly comfortable, him being a Maple Leaf, Hayes said. I don't think that's in his DNA. Being a person who is recognized everywhere you go, living in Toronto, that's what I'm talking about. I have no idea what he thought of the room or what he thought. I'm talking about Ryan O'Reilly kind of being a country guy. He was in St. Louis and Colorado, now he's in Nashville, and I wouldn't be shocked if he lives 40 minutes outside of the rink. I think that being in Toronto and being a Leaf, that can be overwhelming for people, and you can't know until you do it. Max Domi is jacked to be a Leaf, obviously, and we know why. Maybe he'll get here and be like, it's not what I thought it was going to be. Some guys carve it, some guys get here and love it. Some guys think they want it, they get here, and they test it out, and they say it's not everything I thought it was going to be, or I'm more comfortable in a different situation. You're talking about the brightest lights in the sport. The biggest hockey market in the world. It's a different beast. Then you had Frank Corrado saying this about the situation. We've talked about it so much, but if you play in Carolina or Dallas, there's like one beat writer, someone from The Athletic and someone in your local Gazette. Maybe if it's a national game, there's a little bit more, but if you get here in Toronto, there's 20 microphones in your face every single day. Now, the article that we're pulling this from insinuates the idea that TSN is taking a shot at Ryan O'Reilly. That's not what they're doing here with these quotes. It's just kind of indicating that some people are different. People have different values and what they appreciate in their working environment. Some guys love the spotlight, they love the attention, they love the media. Others really prefer a more low-key type of lifestyle. And if you're in Toronto, we always say this, you are a celebrity there. You are a bigger celebrity as a hockey player on the fourth line of the Toronto Maple Leafs than many of the people that star in these TV shows that are winning Canadian Emmys over and over. Like, this is a big deal, and the idea that they're proposing is that Ryan O'Reilly just wasn't equipped as a person to not necessarily handle it. I think he did a pretty alright job when he spoke to the media, but to truly be comfortable with it, those are two different things. And so whether or not it was Ryan O'Reilly disagreeing with Sheldon Keefe's philosophy and how to play the game, or him not really preferring the way the Toronto environment is for his lifestyle and how he chooses to go about his day-to-day, those are the two biggest ideas I've seen popping around this situation, and you're already seeing a lot of Leafs fans go out there and give their responses to it. Here's a tweet from Leafs land legend Josh that had 300,000 views and a whole bunch of likes, 1,700 likes. I gained a deeper appreciation for John Tavares after learning more about this Ryan O'Reilly situation. Tavares may not be the loudest in the room, but he chose to come home, wear the C, and shelter the burden. He has been nothing but a leader for the young guys and an exemplary pro. Reese then replies asking what happened with Ryan O'Reilly in the room. He just seems that he didn't want the noise or the notoriety that came with Toronto as much as maybe he didn't like the coach or whatever else is coming out. And so at the end of the day, when you hear that it's not an issue of money or term, Ryan O'Reilly specifically just did not want to come back, you gotta start filling in the blanks here. And these ideas illuminate what I feel is the most appropriate response to why this went the way it did. And it's one of these things where there isn't really a bad guy here. Sure, Sheldon Keefe might have had a pretty big fault in the way he coached this team in the second round, yeah. But I don't necessarily know if that's really the big picture here. If it is more so that Ryan O'Reilly just doesn't really vibe with the Toronto environment of being one of the most important people in the city, all of a sudden once you're a hockey player here, then I could understand if he decides to go to a more low-key town like Nashville. Not necessarily that they don't have any hockey fans there, but just in terms of how hockey people and how hockey is treated there in the public eye. They've got a lot of cool things going on in Nashville. But you're not going to get pressed over and over again like you are as a member of the Maple Leafs if you're playing for the Predators, even if you are a top star on that team. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your opinions about the reason Ryan O'Reilly left the Toronto Maple Leafs, this entire discussion we had today in this video regarding the coach and the notoriety, and how you feel this situation unfolded when you learned that it really wasn't about the money? Does this make sense? Do you think there's anything else that we need to address here in regards to O'Reilly and his time as a Maple Leaf? Do you think that this is an understandable reason? Because I personally do. If you disagree, let me know in the comments all your opinions and thoughts about that. But I hope you enjoyed this video either way. So that's Rolls99, and bye.